What's up, wrestling fans? Welcome to the 2016 Smark Out Moment Awards. This is our breakdown of not just the best, but also the worst that happened this past year in World Wrestling Entertainment and NXT exclusively. We have 90 awards if you count the split distinction between the best and the worst, ranging from all sorts of topics underneath 6 different divisions that we're going to be doing in different parts here. But before we get started with our first set of awards, I need to introduce to you just who will be reading off their lists. Some of them prepped ahead of time, like myself. Some of them didn't, like our first up here, Shaun Walker.
Now look, right? You need to get leads so you can trim this down from 90 to like 10. Alright? Just 10 awards. We don't need the other 80. There's just no need for it.
People wanted more awards. I gave them more awards. There more awards every year.
About best catering, Tony. Nobody cares, right? It's spaghetti. Get over it.
I don't think their spaghetti would be really that great at catering. From what I've heard, the cookies are the best. So yeah, best catering award goes to the cookies. We also have the Dace man making his return after a long absence, Chris Dace.
What's up, guys? There's still time to vote for me in the probably not time at all. James Ellsworth, 2017.
Yes, we are recording this 3:30 or so p.m. on the 27th, so I'm not too sure when I'm going to be shutting off the polls, and I don't know when I'm actually even going to be uploading this, so maybe there isn't more time, I don't know. But if you guys didn't vote ahead of time, what the fuck, I gave you a month. That's my excuse. And rounding us out here is also Calen Ferris.
What's happening, everybody? I would say if for voting, just as long as you don't vote for Drew, I don't care who you vote for, just not Drew.
Yes, Drew was going to be joining us today, and his family got in the way. So blame Drew's family for, I don't know, worst catering of the year. Let's give him that award.
I don't like the idea of Drew having 2 spaghetti meals in one day.
Yeah, it's a little unsettling, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
First things first, we need to address the elephant in the room. How's it going, Nia Jax? Boo. He's a jerk.
Wow.
Now, obviously, this is not a video, and that's because you guys voted that you'd rather us do audio only with all of the awards and more awards, rather than to do a much shorter list of the awards presented in the video format that we've been doing. We may do video for the Smack Talk division if we record that tomorrow or so, but we're not quite sure yet about that because schedules suck balls. And with the holidays getting in the way, too, we're doing the best that we can, so hold your horses, don't bitch. That's basically what this comes down to. Anywho, let's start digging into our list, starting off with our first divisional section, Technical Skills Awards. Used to be Technical Awards, but I figured Skills is a better way to do that because I reshifted some of these awards here. And what better way to start off than with the category of Best and the Worst Entrance of the Year, which could be a single solitary performance or a regular thing that they do each and every week. Do we have the music going on in the background there? What was that?
Somebody moving a table or something.
For the best table of the year goes to TLC matches. So you should take into account all the different pyro, lighting, and music effects, all that other kind of stuff like that. I'm going to start off here just to get the ball rolling. My best entrance of the year goes to Shinsuke Nakamura for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2, where they had that violinist come out. I thought that was awesome. I didn't quite like it as much the second time. But following right off the heels of that is my worst. The NXT following TakeOver Brooklyn 2, Wesley Blake changed his theme. And he came out, and I like the music. It's this kind of like ominous, like, oh, kind of thing. But all he does is walk awkwardly to the ring and kind of stand there and like nod his head. He does like a glorious bomb, but it's got no rhythm to it. It is awful. The worst entrance of the year by far for me. I wrote that down, and I actually eliminated all the other candidates that I had once that had happened, because I was just like, no, nobody's going to beat this one. So, Calen, let's start off with you. Best and worst entrance of the year. What do you got?
Well, honorable mention goes out to, like you said, Shinsuke Nakamura. Great. Goldberg, always epic. But my best, I'd be remiss if I did not give it to Undertaker. Undertaker, until he retires, in my opinion, is probably going to get this award for me every year. Best entrance, gives me goosebumps every time. Got to go with Taker. As far as worst, man, there's a big list of contenders on that one, but I'm going to give it to Darren Young with Bob Backlund. What a terrible gimmick. It's just so boring. I got to give it to Darren Young.
the only person given anything to Darren Young this whole time, I'm assuming will be worst out of everything.
Yeah.
Dace, best and worst entrance. What you got?
NXT Toronto, glorious.
That was another contender
Bobby
for me.
Roode. He's the man. To have an entire chorus, it's such a tie between that and Brooklyn, where he just descended from the sky in glorious fashion. When it comes to worst, Roman Reigns. Get to the fucking ring, you prick. Nobody likes you. You take too long.
Shaun, what do you got?
I've also gone with best. With
That's good.
right at the top. Robert Roode, NXT Toronto. I've also gone with that because again, it was glorious. Worst, AJ Styles, Royal Rumble. What the fuck?
Oh, that is a good choice. I mean, they didn't even show him on screen at first.
Da fuck. With
Again,
AJ.
involving Roman Reigns. Fucker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to see Roman Reigns when AJ was making his debut. Get the fuck out of here with your stupid beard. That's not a fucking beard.
Yeah, Squinty McSquinters over there squinting at a screen trying to read I am phenomenal.
Squinty McSquinters. That's his new nickname.
I mean, they were going to go with Leia Key, and then they were like, Roman Reigns or Squinty McSquinters. And they put both things in a hat, picked one out, and they were like, I guess Roman. But some of the honorable mentions that I had, as mentioned before, Bobby Roode, Brooklyn entrance for one of the best. Finn Balor always has a good entrance, and I actually really like Naomi's, oddly enough. But
I
for
do like
worst,
with the neon. Yeah, that's good.
yeah, and the dance moves that she's got going on, they're good. I had other choices for worst were the July 4th food fight kickoff of Raw. Hated it. That was terrible. And I really, really hate the themes of Sanity, Peyton Royce, and Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan's whole yo 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 fucking over and over again. And Peyton Royce is that I don't even know how to do a fucking version of that one. Sanity's is just like ear grating. I can't stand that one. So those came real close, but Wesley Blake takes the cake. And he probably eats all of it too. Best and the worst signature maneuver is anything that they regularly do as far as their move set. It could be the finisher. More than likely, that's what we're going to end up doing, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. I mean, we could do the 5-knuckle shuffle. We could do, anything that they make a regular part of their repertoire. I went with the best being Braun Strowman's reverse choke slam. I love seeing him pick up these tiny little guys and just throw them down on their face. And the worst, I'm giving Nia Jax's body slam finisher that she did for a little bit. So bad, because her Samoan drop is good, but that body slam thing was terrible. A couple honorable mentions for me were, for the best, Kevin Owens' Argentine neck breaker. Big fan of that. And Cedric Alexander's lumbar check. So Dace, going to start off with you on this one. Signature move, what do you got?
I'm always a big fan of the Cesaro swing. That just to me is just let's spin around, especially when it's Kofi. For whatever reason, he just seems to keep twirling Kofi over and over and over again.
It's because backstage Kofi's like, wee.
Worst signature, every fucker that throws a super kick. There was a day when super kicks mattered, and you've all killed it. You bastards.
Calen, what do you got?
For best signature maneuver, I thought about giving it to Lesnar for Suplex City for the Germans, but I got to go with Neville with his red arrow. I'm so glad he's back now. And that is such a good, I like the flippy shit. So that is a good flippy move. And it always looks good. As far as worst signature maneuver, I laughed when he said Nia Jax because I also have her on my as worst, but I didn't go with her body slam. I originally had it as leg drop.
Ooh.
But you're right. I think the body slam is probably worse. So I'm going to be on the same page with you, Tony.
I can buy into the leg drop more because her legs are big.
That's true.
Well, her body's big too, but Shaun, round us out.
Wow, this is gonna upset Dace. I went best Dolph Ziggler's super kick.
Oh, come on.
Oh, well, if he was the only one to use it, the fact that everybody throws a goddamn super kick and half-asses it, nobody gets a decent super kick in.
Yeah, the Usos, Del Rio, Kevin Owens.
They kick him in the chest. It's like, I have nothing to do, so we'll just fucking kick you.
And worst signature maneuver, I've gone with AJ Styles flying elbow. I just don't like it. Never have, never will.
Doesn't seem like a finisher, right?
I prefer his Styles Clash.
Yeah, it is much better.
Elbow.
I'm actually surprised nobody picked the Styles Clash for their best finisher move.
That's because Wago isn't on here.
Yeah, it was just been AJ Styles for everything.
That's because Michelle McCool used that move. That's why it's not the best.
I thought she used a slight. No, she did do that, didn't she? Huh.
Mhm.
Angel wings or whatever.
Ah,
I miss McCool. She was hot. The best or coolest spot versus the worst or biggest botch of the year. Pretty self-explanatory. My best or coolest spot, I almost gave to Kevin Owens being powerbombed through the table at Hell in a Cell, but I thought back on it and I ended up changing my mind at the last minute. Shane McMahon jumping off the Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's mine too. Yeah.
Anybody doing anything different than that?
I am. No, I'm not. I lied.
Yes.
What's yours, Shaun?
Bill Goldberg match.
The whole match.
The whole match. The
About
whole,
a
the whole
minute
20
spot.
seconds match.
It basically
Yeah.
was just a spot.
Pretty much was. 2 spears and a jackhammer. That's a fucking spot.
So my biggest botch of the year, I almost gave to the big ending that they gave Mark Henry, and they seemed like they injured him a little bit on the February 15th episode of Raw, but then the Enzo Amore payback injury happened.
Oh,
And you gotta give that one its biggest botch. I mean, that knocked a guy out, kept him out for a couple weeks, and
Biggest botch by Simon Gotch. Ah!
the coolest spot and Simon Gotch award. So, who went first last time? All right, let's go with Shaun. Shaun, you're up first. What's your biggest botch?
My biggest botch is Finn Balor's injury after he won the fucking title and he had to give it up because he
Ooh.
couldn't take a fucking powerbomb into the fucking guardrail like a fucking cunt.
Dace.
Roman Reigns' career.
Counts, I guess. And Calen. It's the biggest botch.
Roman Reigns' career. That's a second one.
I also agree. Can I change it to Roman Reigns? Yeah.
That's the guy that they wanted to make big, and then all of a sudden said, "Yeah, we fucked that up. Let's keep trying."
Speaking of fucking that up, do we have Calen back?
I think we might have.
hello. Oh,
There we
I
go.
was muted. I was pulling a Wago there. Sorry.
It's biggest botch of the year. Calen, right then.
Oh, I got to go with Finn Balor being injured by Rollins. Same thing Shaun went with.
Rolling along here, we got Recognition, which is the most underrated and most overrated performers of the year. Perception is everything. So who got more credit than they deserved and who deserved more credit than they were actually praised? My most underrated, I originally had 3 different people that got released, and I added a 4th person that ended up releasing themselves. It went between Wade Barrett, Damian Sandow, and Ryback, but ultimately I chose Cody Rhodes. That dude, oh man, for such a long time, he should have been at least like an upper mid-carder, and then when they did the brand split, they should have had him in mind as a main eventer. And instead, Stardust gimmick fucks it all up. He ends up leaving the company, and I guess he's happy now, so that's fine. My most overrated, though, I had a couple different choices. Almost gave this to Zack Sabre Jr. I thought he was good, but not as amazing as people made him out to be. Paige was definitely up there, but people seem to be kind of wising up to her a little bit. Brock Lesnar, but you know what? He lost, and people didn't really make as much of a fuss about him this year. So I ended up having to give this to Charlotte. They are overrating her so damn much. 4 times champion in this year, winning every single pay-per-view match. Fuck it, she's not that good. Charlotte, you suck. Cody Rhodes, you're awesome. Calen, what you got for Recognition?
For most underrated, I'm going to have to go with a guy who was away for a while, and he's back, and I'm glad he is. And they're doing more with him now that he's part of a group that has the titles. That is Mr. Luke Harper. I think he might have gotten my underrated last year as well. He's very talented. Love watching him in the ring. As far as most overrated, now this is going to get me a lot of shit, so send your hate mail to Tony. My most overrated is Goldberg. Don't get me wrong. He's wonderful. I love watching him. But he was in the ring all of a minute and a half this year, and it was the most hyped thing in the world. I enjoyed the match. But talk about being overrated. The hype versus what we got, I would say, has to be with him.
Fair argument, I think. Shaun, what's your overrated and underrated?
Well, they're both tied, right? For my underrated and overrated.
Same
For
guy.
my underrated, no. For underrated, I got Sami Zayn and James Ellsworth. You know, they're both good guys. You know, they need more recognition. They both need title runs. All right, I'm just saying. And most overrated, I've gone with Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman because fuck those guys.
Braun Strowman's awesome. Bite your tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Dace, over under. What you got?
Well, under is clearly Zack Ryder. The man won the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. Suck it, Dane. And overrated, I was going to go with Charlotte anyway. She sucks.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm tired of hearing her.
Right now, Chuck's also going, terrible.
Oh, I'm going to change my overrated to Undertaker then if Chuck's listening.
All right, improvement in a superstar. Who has the biggest upgrade from last year in comparison, and who had the biggest downgrade? This was tough for me. I couldn't pick between a lot of different people, and I came very close to giving the biggest upgrade to Ty Dillinger, but then I realized I liked Ty Dillinger last year, so fuck that. Heath Slater is who I went with for the biggest upgrade. I think that he went from a complete jobber to somebody who, he won a fucking title. The last title he had was in 2012. That's a big upgrade. And my biggest downgrade, I almost picked Hideo Itami, but then I realized he was injured for most of last year too, so what's the difference? Vaudevillains were my second pick, but I eventually had to give this to Apollo Crews. That dude in NXT in 2015, everybody was like, oh, he's clearly going to be a champion in the future. He has sucked this year on the main roster. They don't give him jack shit to do. So that's really disappointing to see. So if we're talking regressions and upgrades and all that kind of stuff, Shaun, what did you got for upgrade and downgrade?
Well, biggest upgrade in Superstar, I went with The Miz ever since rejoining with Maurice. I think he stepped up his game. And biggest downgrade in the Superstar, I went with Daniel Bryan because he's no longer wrestling and he's a chump.
That's right. He would be actually qualified because he was not retired at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. Dace, upgrade, downgrade.
Upgrade, I'm going to go with Kevin Owens. He's just been a huge incline ever since he debuted. He started off, I believe, as the Intercontinental Champion this year and then ended the Universal Champion. So he owns the universe now. And he's got a best friend that he didn't have before. And he upgraded that from going from Sami Zayn to Chris Jericho.
That's a good upgrade.
Biggest downgrade? I love the guy, and I just feel like they're not doing anything with him. Seth Rollins. I understand he's going into the Triple H feud, but he returned, he won the title briefly, and I just feel like he's just stagnant compared to where he was last year.
I'm mad at my dad for my fucking downgrades. Calen, upgrade, downgrade. What's the improvement side looking like for you?
Biggest upgrade, Braun Strowman. Neville coming back. I'd say if this were earlier in the year, I'd say Neville had the best rehab, best upgrade in his character. But Braun Strowman, compared to what he was a year ago, way better. As far as biggest downgrade in a superstar, I'm on the same page with you, Tony. Apollo Crews. Last year, we all thought he was going to be shot to the moon, and didn't happen.
Instead, they just shot him
in
the foot. Speaking of Neville, talk about an upgrade. He cuts that promo on Raw this week, and he's just like, I'm going to obliterate everybody. Fuck you all. You're all dead. And it's like, dude, calm down. Okay, we're going to pay attention to you now. Fuck. Mic work's coming up into more things, but we have to do ring work first. That's self-explanatory. If you don't know what the hell that means, what the fuck you listening to this podcast for? Best and worst ring work. I'm going to go, the worst is Eva Marie. Nia Jax would have gotten this if Eva Marie wasn't such a waste where she didn't wrestle at all. At least Nia Jax is in matches. And Eva Marie was supposed to have a big upgrade for her skills and didn't really do all that much. So that's a disappointment. But the best is going to go to Dolph Ziggler. Major shout out to KO and AJ Styles, but Ziggler just makes everything seem like it's second nature. It's just easy for him. Big fan of the cruiserweights too, by the way. So they couldn't probably pinpoint a single one of them. So I got to give that one to Ziggler. Dace, let's start off with you. What do you got? Best and worst ring work.
I'm going to have to give best ring work to probably AJ Styles, only for the fact that he's one of the very few people that when he's in a match, I pay attention. There's a lot of times other people are matches I just kind of bullshit through, even guys like Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler, even though I like them. But I notice whenever AJ Styles is fighting, for whatever reason, I'm watching because he's going to do something above and beyond.
Something
Worst,
phenomenal.
there it is. Worst, Roman Reigns. Just hate that guy. he's boring. Like, I just look at him and I watch his match, and I immediately want to just like go to the bathroom.
Oh, poor Squinty.
Yeah, McSquinters, fuck you.
Calen, ring work.
For ring work, I'm going to start with my worst. Like you said, Eva Marie, but she wasn't really on TV as much this year. And Nia Jax is pretty bad too. But I'll have to go with Dana Brooke. I just never give a shit when she's wrestling. She's just not very good. I think she should have stayed in NXT. As far as best ring work, without a doubt, AJ Styles. For everything Dace said and more.
Woo, more. Shaun, what you got?
I went with Dolph Ziggler for best because it's Dolph Ziggler and that guy can sell a match against a fucking paintbrush if he wants to. And worst, this is going to be like deja vu from last year. So if you guys want to watch last year's, then the same answer is going to apply here. Roman Reigns just fucking sucks. He's got 3 moves: the Samoan drop, his spear, and his Superman punch. It's about time this guy learns, I don't know, like a fucking suplex or something. Christ, it can't be that difficult.
The passion behind it. Mic work. Let's see if we can get some passion on that one. I went with, for my worst, man, I was real tempted to put a 3-way tie between Asuka, Hideo Itami, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Just because English is not their first language and they all struggle so much. Especially Shinsuke, because Shinsuke is always just like, NFP champion. It's like, oh, dude, what's wrong with you? You got a lisp and you don't fucking know English? Like, but I figured that wouldn't be fair. So I went with somebody who has no excuse whatsoever for this. Stuttering Goldust. Holy fuck, is that annoying?
Yeah, that's terrible.
The whole, no truth, it's like, fuck, dude, you're not trying to do a Paul Bearer impression. Shut up. But I got a tie for my best mic work. Chris Jericho and The New Day. I just couldn't decide between the two of them. Both are just so fucking great every time they get the mic. And I went back and forth for, these two were tied for the entire year. And I kept thinking to myself, you know what, I'm going to have to make a decision. And then I was like, nah, fuck it. It's my website. I'll have to. So, best and the worst mic work. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. For my best mic work, gotta go with KO, Kevin Owens. Every time he's on the mic, it's fantastic, especially when he's on commentary. As much as I like Jericho, as much as I like New Day, actually New Day's kind of gotten a little stale with their mic work, in my opinion. But Kevin Owens, I think, has the one key that he's able to improvise a lot better. He's able to play off the other people in the moment. So I'm going to go with KO. As far as my worst mic work, it's a guy, although he does do good lucha things, I got to go with Kalisto.
He really is bad.
Mostly, if it had not been for that promo, I probably wouldn't even considered him. But that was just the worst.
That if we did an individual worst promo of the year, that might be it. It's still hard to keep track of that though. But man, that was fucking awful. I'm gonna just do it. The good lucha thing. He runs away all like fuck. Messed us all up. Dace or Shaun, who wants to go next?
I'll go since Shaun's quiet. Best mic work, gonna have to agree. It's Kevin Owens. He improv so much better. And Jericho, I feel like recently, I don't know if it's just me, but he's bit off the R-Truth bit of arachnophobia and acrophobia.
Yeah, what the fuck is up with that?
That
He
irritated
flat
the hell out of me.
stole it.
And then they brought it, like, I thought maybe it was an accident, and then they just brought it up again the second week. So I'm kind of giving points off to Jericho for that because, fuck, dude. Especially some Jericho, a guy who gets really worked up when people steal things from him. And then he just went and did the same thing.
He's just dabbling and stealing.
Yeah, right. Worst mic skills goes to the Diva Revolution. You guys are great in the ring, but Jesus, you can't carry a story on the mic. So irritating listening to Charlotte and Sasha. Just blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Just punch each other in the face.
Alrighty, Shaun.
For best, I've gone with The Miz because of that promo that he did on that SmackDown recap show against Daniel Bryan, which made Daniel Bryan storm off and cry like a little bitch. That was a point. That was great. I love watching it. You can just see, you know how Ralph Wiggum and his heart breaks.
You could just
That, that,
pinpoint it.
that's how I pictured Daniel Bryan when the Miz just goes on the rant and says like you can never wrestle again. It's just Daniel Bryan's face just breaks. It's amazing. I love watching it. And worst, I've gone with Roman Reigns because that guy just bores the living shit out of me and puts me to sleep.
Roman Reigns getting a lot of heat this time. Best and worst title reign of the year. We have a whole list of different title reigns. I ain't fucking running them all down. They're all on the website if you are not familiar with all the different title reigns. The best, I went with the New Day for the Raw Tag Team Championship. I think it's hard to kind of disagree with that. Does anybody have a best that's other than that one?
I do.
Yeah, so do I.
Oh, wow. I look at it this way. They beat the record, and they're the longest reigning champion out of anybody that's had a championship this year. And they were fun as hell. So
That's true. The thing that bothers me about the New Day, though, is that they were supposed to be babyface for most of that time, or nearly all that time. And they kept winning by some really devious methods. So I didn't think that fit their characters very well as far as being babyface. So that kind of bugged me.
Oh, and since I like assholes and jerks, I was totally down for that. It was like, yeah,
I do
go ahead.
too.
I like you better.
That's not typical of a babyface.
Well, then they might not get best babyface of the year.
My
worst
best title reign. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna round mine out real quick.
Yeah.
Then my worst, it was very close to give it to either Finn Balor or Zack Ryder, but they didn't have any. They didn't have any time. That's the thing. So I couldn't really give it to them because it's not fair. I really didn't like the idea that Sasha Banks held it 3 times for no fucking reason. But holy shit, I remembered back when I looked at the list, Kalisto as United States champion. 2 title reigns this year, and they both sucked balls. So I don't know which one I would pick, but they're both terrible. Kalisto wins for me, U.S. title, whichever one it was. The worst, I don't know. Probably the second one, I guess. I don't know. Oh no, the first one was the real quick one with Del Rio. Yeah, the first one's even worse. So, Calen, we go next.
Sure. For my best title reign, gotta go with the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz, doing some of the best work of his career. He is doing what you should do. He's elevating the title. The title means more on him. So I think having him hold that strap is working really, really well this year. He did drop it, though, didn't he? He dropped it and then got it back to Ziggler, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So I think Miz got to be my best title reign. As far as worst, hey, guys, did you remember that Roman Reigns is the U.S. champion?
You've got exactly the same answer as me.
Because I think he might have defended it once or twice, but you would never know. It's like he took a page out of Dean Ambrose's book, never defending that damn title.
I remember
Roman
that.
doesn't need it. It worked way better on Rusev, so I have no idea why they gave it to Roman.
So, Shaun, you have the same ones as Galen?
For best, I've gone with The Miz because it's The Miz. And worst, I've gone with Roman Reigns and Flair/Banks/Flair/Banks/Flair/Banks.
Yeah.
It's probably the right amount, too. At Dace, I'm assuming Zack Ryder Intercontinental title's the best.
I would give it to him, but to be unfair to everybody else, since he took 24 hours and made it the greatest 24 hours in the world, it's just not fair. He's on a different playing field than everybody else. I'm going to go best title reign to Kevin Owens with the Universal title. It's just, I enjoy watching him in the main event. Granted, they haven't really fed him anybody interesting to fight because I'm tired of the Shield. But him and Jericho are building something great that's going to be ruined at the Rumble by another dickhead. The worst title reign, I'm going to go with Dean Ambrose. I know he was a victim of circumstance. I was really happy he won it, but it just felt boring when he was the WWE champion. It just sucks because I really had high hopes for him.
Hopes. And our final award for the technical skills section, match of the year. My worst, it was real tough to find a worst match of the year for me. But I wrote one of them down specifically, and I haven't gone back to rewatch it because it's the worst, so why would I want to? It was the, what's the 9? That's what? September? Yeah. I'm tired.
Yeah.
September 20th edition of SmackDown. We had Carmella and Natalya against Naomi and Nikki Bella. And I think it was like a minute and a half long, and it was just like botches and just real annoying. But in general, the note that I had written down was any match that anybody overrated from the women's division just because it's a women's division match as opposed to being fair enough to judge it the same as the men's, those are more annoying because then people are like, well, no, it was really that great for a women's match. And it's like, well, you know what? If you want to have the equality behind it, you got to judge it the same. So any of them that might have crapped the bed with like Eva Marie or anything in NXT with some of the people like Aaliyah or whoever, if any of those sucked, they sucked just as much as the men's matches that sucked. So, I had a long list of best match of the year, though, and I don't really know which one I would end up picking, but I'm going to run them down real quick, and maybe the other decisions here, I'll maybe kind of make a decision on my own, but I had written down Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn from NXT TakeOver Dallas, the Extreme Rules Intercontinental Championship Fatal 4-Way, Miz, Cesaro, Owens, and Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns, AJ Styles from Extreme Rules, American Alpha versus The Revival from NXT TakeOver The End, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens at Battleground. I think I might give it to that one. I remember that being really good. Cedric Alexander versus Kota Ibushi from Round 2 of the Cruiserweight Classic. Revival versus DIY from Brooklyn 2. Cena versus Styles from SummerSlam was really good. Perkins versus Ibushi from the semifinals of the Cruiserweight Classic was awesome as well. And my other choice I might go with, maybe other than the Zayn Owens one, was the Miz Ziggler from No Mercy. That should have been the main event of that fucking pay-per-view. I don't know why they didn't do that. So, I don't know which one I'm going to pick. Maybe what everybody else picks will end up convincing me one way or the other. But, Shaun, what you got for best and worst match of the year?
For best, I got two. I've got Ziggler and Miz, No Mercy, and Ty Dillinger versus Robert Roode, NXT Toronto. That was a perfect 10 match. So good. So good. I can watch that for days. And worst match, I went with Banks versus Flair Hell in a Cell because that put me to sleep. It literally put me to sleep.
I can hear the comment section right now going, what the fuck is Hell in a Cell match? First ever. Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. She couldn't even put it through a fucking table. Fuck yourselves.
Dace, best and worst worst. There you go. Worst match of the year.
Worst match is Ambrose versus Lesnar at WrestleMania 32. I don't remember if you remember that's a thing. That was a thing, and that was terrible. And a waste of both the two guys. Best match, I'm going to have to go with The Miz and Ziggler. That one was really good.
So
That's all
good.
I got.
So I got one more vote heading me towards that Miz Ziggler thing. Calen, what you got?
For my best match of the year, man, there was a couple of really good ones. There was one that we watched at the beginning. It wasn't WWE, but it was AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, Wrestle Kingdom 10. That was a damn good match. Also, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn at NXT TakeOver Dallas. Have to mention that. That's probably going to be number one. I'd also have to say Ambrose defending the IC title against Kevin Owens at Royal Rumble, last man standing match where they did the 2-table spot at the end. I got to go with Shinsuke versus Sami, I'm saying. For my worst, that was another tough one. Because it's recently in my memory, I'm thinking Nikki Bella versus Carmella at TLC with the fire extinguisher. It was
God,
terrible.
yeah, that was bad.
But I'm also going to have to give honorable mention to Curtis Axel, along with the Social Outcast defeating R-Truth at Fastlane. You remember that one?
Not at all.
Exactly. Exactly. It was so inconsequential.
I literally don't remember that was even a feud. Holy shit.
It was terrible.
They beat just R-Truth?
Yep. Well, it was Curtis Axel, and then the Outcasts were there with him. And
okay. I was going to say, that would be a weird handicap match to throw in there. Alrighty, guys. We are going to...
Outside of WWE, right? Can I just say, outside of WWE, best
Sure.
match, Final Deletion.
Oh my god.
Still
That
haven't
was
seen
great.
it.
Oh, so good.
Still haven't seen it.
The Hurricane returns. Spoiler alert.
Stand back.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys, we are going to take a little bit of a break ourselves, but if you are watching this on YouTube, then click on the next part, which is going to be the Writing Awards. We're going to take care of those sections of all those different categories, and we're going to continue on with the different ones all throughout this whole podcast. If you're on iTunes or Stitcher, then you don't have to do a damn thing. Isn't that great? Yeah, much more convenient that way. But we will be back with those. Make sure you leave your comments below to tell us what you think the choices are for these Technical Skills Awards. What do you think about our picks and anything else that you want to put out there? Hit that thumbs up button as well. Subscribe if you haven't already, and so on and so forth. We're going to be right back with the Writing Awards in part 2.